Greetings! Mantaro79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days! Alrighty then, let's get started. Pressing the A button now. Loading game, and proceeding. Here we are in the main menu, and let's get over to the edit deck menu. Here we are. And so in today's video, the deck profile I'm going to be making one for is Dragon Empires, Chakrabarthi Divine Dragon Nirvana, D-BT02. And for the cards I'm going to be using to build this deck, I'll be using this Dragon Empire Nirvana D-Booster 1 deck as the base for the deck I'm going to build. Okay, let's get started. So, going inside, edit deck. And here we are. And as I just mentioned before, the deck profile I'm going to be making for in this video is a Chakrabarthi Divine Dragon Nirvana deck, mainly comprised of cards only available up until D-Booster 2. So first off, let's go to filter settings and go to pack. Show only cards from up until D-Booster 1, Genesis of 5 Greats, D-Booster 2, A Brush of the Legends, and Festival Collection 2021, which was released between the two boosters. Apply filter, and here we are. So let's get started. First off, the Grade 3 lineup. For the Grade 3s of this deck, we have Ride Deck, Grade 3, Chakrabarthi Divine Dragon, Nirvana. His skills are, first skill, action as a Vanguard, once per turn. Cost, discard a card from your hand. If the cost has been paid, choose a Grade 0 card from your drop zone and call to the rear guard circle. And second skill, auto as a Vanguard. When this unit attacks, cost counterblast 1. If the cost has been paid, and this unit and all of your units with the Overdress ability get plus 10,000 power until the end of the turn. So for Nirvana, he's the main Grade 3 to ride this deck. For skills, our first skill, just by discarding a card from your hand, you can superior call any Grade 0 from your drop zone and call to the rear guard. So any Grade 0, for example, Trickstar, which will allow you to overdress later. And the second skill, just by attacking and counterblasting 1, not only can your Vanguard Nirvana, but all of your overdress units will get plus 10,000 power, thus making your front row much more likely to land more decisive and devastating damage into your opponent. So for Nirvana, we're playing 4 of him, so keeping 4 and 1 in the right deck. The Grade 3 by Reina Valiente, we're going to be taking 4 of this out. And now let's get over to the Grade 2 line of this deck. For the Grade 2s, we have Ride Deck, Grade 2, Blaze Maiden Ryu. Her skills are, first skill, auto. When ridden on top of by Chakrabarthi Divine Dragon Nirvana, Soul Blast 1. If the cost has been paid, search your deck for up to 1 Virina, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. And second skill, Continuous, as a Vanguard and Rearguard. During the battle this unit attacked, this unit gets plus 2,000 power. So for Ryu, she's the main Grade 2 to ride this deck. For her first skill, just by riding Nirvana on top of her, as long as you don't mind paying a Soul Blast of 1, you can search your deck for a Virina and add it to your hand, thus securing you an Overdress to attack with later. And the second skill, just by attacking, your Vanguard or Rearguard Ryu can serve as a 12,000 point attacker all by herself. So for Ryu, we're playing 1 of her in the right deck, keeping it that way. So next up, the Grade 2, Virina. Skills are, first skill, Continuous, Overdress, Trickstar, and then second skill, auto. As a rear guard, when this unit in the overdress state attacks a Vanguard, this unit gets plus 10,000 power until the end of the battle. Then Soul Blast 2, if the cost is paid, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So for Irina, he's one of the overdress cards to play in the Nirvana deck. Just by having him in the overdress state, when attacking your opponent's Vanguard, Virina can serve as a 20,000 point attacker all by himself, and as long as you don't mind paying the hefty cost of Soul Blast 2, he can also clear your opponent's rear guard by 1. So for Virina, we have 4, taking 1 out. For this deck, we're only going to be playing 3 Virinas. And next up, the Grade 2, Virina Arcs. Skills are, per skill, Continuous, Overdress, Trickstar, and now the second skill, Auto. When this unit is placed on the rear guard, if it is Overdress, cost, counterblast 1. If the cost has been paid, draw 2 cards, and this unit gets plus 5,000 power until the end of the turn. So for Virina Arcs, he's one of the other overdress cards to play in this deck. Just by overdressing him onto the rear guard, as long as you don't mind paying the cost of counterblast 1, your Virina Arcs can not only let you draw 2 cards, but become a 15,000 point attacker all by himself. So for Virina Arcs, we have 4 and keeping it to 4. Next up, the Grade 2, Burned by Pure Prayers. Not going to play this card, so taking 2 out. Next, let's go over to here. The Grade 2, Virina Urger. Skills are, first skill, Overdress, Trickstar, Continuous, second skill, Auto, from the hand. At the end of the battle, your Trickstar attack the Vanguard. If your Vanguard is Chakrabarthi, Divine Dragon, Nirvana, Soul Blast 2. If the cost has been paid, Overdress this card onto your Trickstar on the rear guard as stand and countercharge 1. And the third skill, Continuous, as a rear guard or guardian. If this unit is in the Overdress state, this unit gets plus 10,000 power and plus 10,000 shield, active on opponent's turn 2. So if Irina Urger, he's the Overdress unit made available from the D-Booster 2. For his skills are, second skill, from your hand, after attacking your opponent's Vanguard or Trickstar, and if your Vanguard is already Nirvana, as long as you don't mind paying the cost of Soul Blast 2, you'll be able to superior Overdress it from your hand and stand and countercharge 1, thus giving you another attack to pressure your opponent with, and also to refund a counterblast. And the third skill, so with this third skill, as long as it's in the Overdress state, your rear guard or guardian Irina Urger will get plus 10,000 power and plus 10,000 shield. So on your turn, he can serve as a 20,000 point attacker, and during your opponent's turn, a 15,000 point shield. And the best part is, this ability is activated on both players' turns, so your opponent will not be able to get rid of your Irina Urger by simply attacking if they're rear guards or vanguards normally. So for Urger, we're going to be playing 4 of him. Okay, we're done with the Grade 2 lineup, so let's get on to the Grade 1 lineup. For the Grade 1s in this deck, we're playing Ride Deck, Grade 1, Blazeman and Reno. Her skills are, first skill, Auto. When ridden upon by Blazeman and Ryu, search your deck for up to 1 Trickstar and call to Rearguard Circle, then shuffle your deck. And the second skill, Continuous, as a Vanguard or Rearguard. During the battle this unit attacked, this unit gets plus 2,000 power. So for Reno, she's the main Grade 1 to play in this deck. Just by riding Ryu on top of her, you'll be able to superior call a Trickstar from your deck straight to the rear guard, supplying you with the materials to overdress with later. And the second skill, your Reno can become a 10,000 point attacker from the Vanguard or rear guard. So for Reno, we're playing 1 of her and keeping it to 1. Next up, the Grade 1, Stealth Dragon, Tenchestead. His skill is Auto as a rear guard. When the attack this unit boost hits, counterblast 1, retire this unit, choose one of your Vanguards, and search your deck for up to 1 card of the same name as that card, reveal it, and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. So for Tenchestead, he's a good support card for the Dragon Empire Nation decks, for any build really. Just by boosting a successful attack, you'll be able to add another copy of your Vanguard from your deck to your hand. So ideally, this card is a good way to secure Persona rides for your hand to use in another turn. So for Tenchestead, we're playing 2 and keeping it to 2. Next up, the Grade 1, Twin Buckler Dragon, Sentinel, Perfect Guard. His skills are, first skill, Continuous, Sentinel, second skill, Auto. When this unit is put on the Guardian Circle, choose one of your units and it cannot be hit until the end of the battle. If your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from your hand and discard it. So for Twin Buckler Dragon, he's like any other Perfect Guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game. Just by guarding a bit and discarding a card from your hand, you'll be able to completely block your opponent's attack. But he also has an ability unique to all D standard format Perfect Guards. When guarded with, if you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, thus making Twin Buckler a no-cost Perfect Guard in desperate last resort situations. So for Twin Buckler, we're playing 4 and keeping 4. Next up, the Grade 1, Extremist Dragon, Velocity Hazard. We're going to be taking 4 of this card out. And next, we're going to put in Grade 1. The Grade 1, Stealth Dragon, Togashi Rashi. His skill is Auto. When this card is discarded from your hand during your turn, you may put this card into your soul. So for Togashi Rashi, it's a good card to play in any Dragon Empire Nation deck. Just by discarding it during your turn, instead of going to the drop zone, it goes to your soul. So for Togashi Rashi, it's a good card to use during your ride deck costs, like when you have to discard a card from your hand to ride from the ride deck, or for Nirvana skill, which requires you to discard a card to superior call Grade 0. If you discard Togashi Rashi, it'll go to your soul, thus securing you more cards to Soul Blast with later. So for Togashi Rashi, you're playing 3 of him. And now for the other Grade 1. The Grade 1, Blaze Maiden, Aruna. Her skill is Continuous as a rear guard. During the battle, this unit boosted a Grade 0. This unit gets plus 5,000 power. So for Aruna, she's a good card to play in Irina Urger decks, since just by boosting Trickstar, she can serve as a 13,000 power booster from the back row. thus making your Trickstar a pretty powerful attacker before you superior Overdress Virina Urgress on top of it. So for Aruna, we're playing 3 of her. Next up, the Grade 0 lineup. The Grade 0, Sunrise Egg, right deck. Its skill is auto when written on top of. If you went second, draw a card. So for Sunrise Egg, it's the starting unit of this deck. Just by writing on top of it, if you went second, you draw a card. So for Sunrise Egg, we're playing 1 and putting in the right deck. Next up, the Grade 0, Trickstar, skill, continuous as a rear guard. This unit cannot be chosen by your opponent's card effects. So for Trickstar, it's another one of the main cards to play in the Nirvana decks. For skill, just by being on the rear guard, it cannot be chosen by your opponent's card effects, thus making a semi-resist skill that protects it from being retired, sent back to hand, bound, or return to deck, or any other effect that your opponent can use on it. And also, it's one of the main cards to be used with the Overdress skill to bring out Virina and the other versions of Virina. So for Trickstar, we're playing 4 and keeping 4. Next up, the trigger lineup. For the triggers in this deck, we're playing the Grade 0, Blazeman and Zone. Critical trigger, we're playing 4 of her. The Grade 0, Conduct Spark Dragon, critical trigger. We have 4, taking 1 out. We're going to be playing 3 of this critical trigger. Then the Grade 0, Blaze Staff Monk Shokusha, draw trigger. We're taking 3 of them out and replacing it with the Grade 0, Blaze Maiden Parama, front trigger. Her skill is continuous as a guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So for Parama, she's a very powerful front trigger to play for your Dragon Empire Nation decks. Just by guarding of her while your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or higher, she alone can serve as a 20,000 point shield. For Parama, we're playing 4 of her, 4 front triggers, and then the Grade 0, Blaze Maiden Rona, heal trigger, we're playing 4 of her. And last but not least, the Grade 0, Dragon DD King of Resurgence, Drag Vita, over trigger. Its skill is trigger, additional effect. Choose one of your Vanguards and restand it. So for Drag Vita, he's the over trigger for the Dragon Empire Nation, and like any other over trigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, he features the same effect and skill. Just by being revealed doing a drive check or damage check, you get 100 million power and draw a card, but he also features an ability that's unique to him alone. When revealed during a drive check on your turn, you can restand your Vanguard. So Drag Vita is a very powerful over trigger to have in your Dragon Empire decks, thus allowing you to attack twice with your Vanguard, getting 2 twin drive attacks to not only restock your hand, but to increase the chance of getting a trigger. So for Drag Vita, we're playing 1 of him. And with that, finished building the deck and explaining the card effects. So let's save the deck. Overwrite deck being built, yep. And the deck has been built, card effects explained. For the cards in this deck build, we're playing 4, Grade 3, Chakrabarthi Divine Dragon, Nirvana. 1, Grade 2, Blaze Maiden Ryu. 3, Grade 2, Virina. 4, Grade 2, Virina Arcs. 4, Grade 2, Virina Urger. 1, Grade 1, Blaze Maiden Reno. 2, Grade 1, Stealth Dragon Tenchestead. 4, Grade 1, Twin Buffalo Dragon. 3, Grade 1, Stealth Dragon Togachi Rashi. 3, Grade 1, Blaze Maiden Aruna. 4, Grade 0, Trickstar. 1, Grade 0, Sunrise Egg, starting unit. And then we're playing in the triggers in this deck is 7 critical triggers, 4 front triggers, 4 heal triggers, and 1 over trigger, Drag Vita. Okay, so the deck has been built, card effects explained. Let's get on to testing out the deck. So leaving the decadent menu, returning to main menu. Let's go over to fight menu and CPU fight. Selecting the new deck I just built. And now fighting an opponent. So for the opponent I'm playing this deck against, I'll be going up against... I'll be fighting Haru Shinagawa, normal difficulty. Alright, the battle begins. Let's get started. We're deciding who goes first, so rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock the scissors, I go first, okay. Drawing the starting hand, and I'm gonna return one heel and one front and one Overdress back to the deck. We draw. Okay, not bad. My turn, I draw. I'm going to ride from my right deck, Blazeman Reno, and from my hand, I'm gonna discard one Trick Star, right, Reno, and end of turn. My opponent's turn, she rides the Great One, Thiagra. Thiagra's skill, she's gonna draw, okay, and calling and calling. Oh no, not good. Alright, no guard, take this hit. Ow, damage check. Yes, front trigger. Power the front row. Vanguard to Vanguard, one trigger to pass, no guard. Yes, no trigger. The attack does not go through, so attack blocked. My turn. I draw. I'm going to ride my right deck, Blazeman Ryu. I discard one heal trigger. Riding Ryu, Reno's skill. I superior call Trick Star from my deck. Superior call. And now I'm going to Overdress Virina Arcs onto Trick Star. Arcs' skill, I counterblast one and draw two cards. Alright, not a bad draw. Next up, I'm gonna call Blazeman Aruna to the rear guard. And now beginning battle phase. First up, Ryu attacks the Vanguard, 10,000 power. Skill plus 2,000, 12,000. Drive check, no trigger. And the attack goes through. Damage check, no trigger. Perfect guard, nice. So next up, Arcs attacks the Vanguard. She guards, okay. Next up, my Great One attacks the Vanguard, 8,000 power. Attack hits. And damage check. No trigger, okay. That's the end of my turn. My opponent's turn. She rides Thiagra, okay. Thiagra's skill, she's going to superior call Drilling Angel as rest, okay. Calling another one and two regards, okay. Here it comes. Vanguard to Vanguard. Alright, I'm not gonna guard. Take the hit. Drive check. No trigger. Save. Ow! Damage check. No trigger. Rear guard attack, okay. I'm gonna guard with... I guard with Trick Star, 13,000. The attack is blocked. And now 18,000 power to the Vanguard. Okay, I'm not gonna guard. Take the hit. And here it comes. Out. Damage check. No trigger. Alrighty, we're done here. So my turn. I stand and draw. I'm going to ride my right deck. Chakrabarthi, Divine Dragon, Nirvana. I discard Aruna from my hand. Riding Nirvana. Ryu's skill, I'm going to Soul Blast one and search my deck for Virina and add it to my hand. Adding Virina. Okay. Next up, I'm going to move Aruna to the back row. I activate my Vanguard skill. I discard Virina from hand and superior call Great Zero from my drop zone. I superior call Trick Star to the front row. Okay, we're ready. So beginning battle phase. First up, Trick Star boosted by Aruna attacks the Vanguard. Aruna's skill plus 5,000 power, so 18,000 power. She doesn't guard, okay. Attack goes through, damage check, no trigger, safe. Next up, I activate Virina Urger's skill from hand. I'm going to Soul Blast 2 cards. And Superior Overdress Virina Urger's from my hand. Superior Overdress! Counter charge 1 plus power. And now my Vanguard Nirvana attacks the Vanguard. Nirvana skill, I counterblast 1, give power to herself and all Overdress units. And power added. Here it comes. Twin drive, first check. Front trigger, yes! Power to the front row. Just what I needed. Second check, yes! Critical trigger. Okay, I give the critical to my Vanguard, power to arcs. And there we go. 2 damage to the opponent. And the attack lands. Boom! Damage check first. Critical trigger. Oh no! She has power. Okay. And next up, the second damage. No trigger. Yes, we're safe. Alright. Virina Arcs attacks the Vanguard. 40,000 power. Yeah, the attack goes through. And damage check. No trigger. Alright. The battle's over. 6 damage. I win. Winner me. I got some VP, win, double trigger, attack at 40,000 more power, 1 within 6 turns, this superior call, and drew 3 times in 1 turn. I got 1900 VP and total 12,150 VP. Nice, press A to go next. Okay, finished testing out the deck, so leaving the fight menu. Back to the main menu, back to edit deck menu. And I've just pretty much finished explaining the deck's build and card effects and tested out the deck in front of you. So with that, that's all the time you have for today. So first off, I want to say thank you to the viewers watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. I also hope you all show support by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing to my videos in the channel. And with that, I say goodbye.